All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Loving Goliath, a show where we discuss how to love the monster within. I'm Willa Smith, and I'm here with my dad and co-host, Trainer Ben Smith. Hello, Trainer Ben Smith. How are you?
Good, good. So how many times have you done that intro now? You're coming on to somewhere around 90 times now, eh?
Yeah. Yep.
Crazy.
Coming up to 90 times of that exact intro. There was a while where it was pre-recorded too, but now that we're doing video, I think folks would notice if it was like me a month ago in like a different outfit, like, hello everyone, welcome back. And Trader Ben, how are you? And then it cuts to me like I am now.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a way that we could just like kind of totally just like this is what we want to talk about, and then just like be totally like have our images up there where it's what do you call it? Not Chat GPT, but like AI like welcome to the Loving Goliath podcast. And just the whole thing. And
Just
people
a
are just like,
completely AI podcast.
yeah, people are just like, come on, I call bullshit.
It was suggested to me recently that like I know we've talked a bit about streaming and like I used to stream, some folks might remember that, but some like a couple friends of mine and my boyfriend and I were all talking and they were like, you guys should do like you talking about us, we should do a stream as like VTubers. I don't think you know what VTubers are, but basically it's like animation. So we'd be animated and they were saying that like you would be like this like anime woman with like the big jugs and like all the beautiful hair and stuff. And then I'd just be like a little frog on your head. And so like when we talk, like the characters talk for us. And so you'd be like this voluptuous anime woman and I'm just a frog on your head, like, hello everyone, welcome back. So that was
Well,
the
I was sold, I think I got sold on like, and I'd have big jugs. That's what
yeah, you would.
that's all I heard was like, I could have big jugs. Wow.
Yeah, again, there are multiple pictures, I believe, in the Everyday Guy journal of that very scenario. So it's
And
not.
it's true, but my jugs are pretty small in those pictures. They're not big.
I think
I
you're
don't have
misremembering.
I don't have big, huge willow jugs.
Okay, all right. I mean, the coconut one,
Dad,
fair enough. The coconut one, fair enough. I mean, you
those
can
are
only do
those
so
are
much with a coconut. But there's
yeah.
one of you in like full, like the big blonde wig. You were going fully Dolly Parton on that one.
Yeah, I was really embracing my feminine side of that one.
Clearly, I can see that.
You know what's so hilarious is like I don't really dress up for Halloween very often, but when I was younger, when I dressed up for Halloween, it'd be like, oh, a woman, of course. It was like so so my feminine side, totally embracing it.
Yeah, anytime anybody's like, "Hey, we're going to a costume party," you're like, "I know just the thing. I'm so prepared for this." You open up your closet, it's just like wigs and like dresses and like a whole array of like, I'm so ready for this.
I know I go RuPaul in like a nanosecond.
It's true. Yeah. Oops.
Which is so funny
Any
because it ties into like what we were talking about a little bit, learning to regulate emotions while retaining masculinity. So it's kind of like we're learning to, dress how you want to and learn how to wear these Halloween flowing dresses and this and that while retaining masculinity, kind of the same.
yeah, I can see it. It's I feel like that's a whole other conversation. And like I don't think it's one that we are qualified to talk about, but it is something that's very interesting to me. Like people who express themselves through clothing the way that they want to, but then like other people will try to put them in boxes and be like, well, if you're wearing a skirt, you want to be a woman, and they're like, no, I want to be a man, but I like how this looks. Like it's an
Yeah.
interesting conversation. Again, I don't think that we are qualified to talk about it, but
Well,
it
it's
is an interesting phenomenon in fashion nowadays.
yeah, but how qualified do you have to be to say like if you're not hurting somebody, do what you want to do? Like why? Like how qualified do you have to be to say like people should do what makes them feel good as long as they're not hurting anybody?
When I say
That's
qualified, I mostly mean I don't want us to sound like ignorant old people. Like, well, if boys wear skirts, I mean, back in my day, they wore pantaloons. Like,
but would we? I mean, both of us are
I don't
pretty
think so.
pretty open to the fact that, I mean, everybody should be free to live their life how they want to live.
It's true. And we've had a lot of conversations about that, like along with everything else, right? And I do think it's interesting how like masculinity kind of gets put into its own thing where it's like if you are masculine, you can't now be these other things, like, which again, this is a generalization. I don't think every man feels this way, but it does have like an overarching sense of like you kind of have to be strong or emotionally resilient, emotionally aware, like have emotional intelligence. It's like you can't have both. But why? Why can't you have both?
It's so ridiculous. It's so outdated. But
Yeah.
which brings us to the topic, which is exactly that, like retaining your masculinity while um learn to regulate your emotions or expressing your emotions. I mean, that's if you can't regulate your emotions. I mean, a lot of people can't. I mean, because we haven't been in. I don't think we've been taught how to do that enough over a long enough period of time. But really, if you can't regulate your emotions, you're really not in a lot of control of of how how your life is going to go, because you're a victim of the stereotype that you're living in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you can regulate your emotions, then you can kind of like, okay, who am I really in the? Who am I going to be in this situation? How is this? How do I want this situation to turn out for me? Like you can be more honest with like how you want to be in the world and in different situations and relationships and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So I think it's emotional regulation is probably, in my opinion, is probably the most important thing a person could learn. And I guess what we're talking about on this episode is maybe um, how people could do it without feeling like, well, now I'm not being masculine because I'm being in touch with the fact that I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling, whatever. Right? It's like it has the two, like they're not. One doesn't affect the other at all. You can be 100% masculine and I'm feeling sad and I want to cry or whatever. I mean, it doesn't. One isn't related to the other at all.
Yeah, and it's also like if you're if you're always in a state of reaction, you can only react to situations instead of come at them from a grounded place. Your ability to control what you're going to say and do is a lot lower, and like you're more likely to not act like yourself. You're more likely to not act in ways that are aligned with your beliefs, your morals, what you believe to be, your own definition of masculinity. If you can only react and you're not prepared at all, like you're more liable to say things you don't mean, to act in ways you don't want to act, to blow up, to get angry, all these things that you know that you don't want to be, like so a lot of this like a lot of this work about having control of your emotions as about just not letting them control you. You get to dictate how you're going to be in the world. And I think like that, sorry, did you hear that ball just like explode? Um, yeah, it's about showing up in the world the way that you want to show up, the way that is true to you, and you get to define that. But it's about doing actual like work beforehand to make sure that when you respond to a situation, it's how you want to respond. It is with dignity and it is with, with the grace that you want to have in these situations, especially like as a father, as a coworker, as like if you're into sports and you're working in a team or whatever, like the way that you are around other people does define you. So make it be you. You can't do anything else, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think and again, it's one of those things that, I mean, I think a lot of people, or I'm sure there's a lot of people that are just naturally pretty good at it. But I think for a lot of people, especially people who are like kind of a little bit older, my age, or just kind of swept up in the narrative about like that tough guy role or whatever it is, it's like you kind of need to sit down and really reflect, spend some time, which is why I've always said from day one that journaling is so important, and that's what the Everyday Guy Journal is all about too. Is really to help people kind of reframe all the situations so that they are kind of um, learning to regulate their emotions just naturally by reframing these everyday kind of situations and ways that they look at themselves, right? It's just a natural regulation of emotions. Like, oh, I'm actually not so bad. I'm actually a pretty decent person, which means I don't have to be such a tough guy, which means I can let down my guard, which means I can tell somebody, like, I really care about you. I really miss you. I really love you. I'm kind of sad. Do you want to go for coffee or whatever, right? It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a natural byproduct of doing the work to find your place around these different situations or areas of your life, journaling, thinking about it, reflecting, and just being at peace with that self-assurance again, right?
Yeah. And that's a great point. I will just like super fast plug. The Everyday Guide journal is out. It's published. It's like available for purchase. I
Just wait,
know.
wait, 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 wait. What?
Whoa.
What?
Say what?
Say
Yeah, so
what?
so it's been a long time coming, but I'm super excited to, and like there'll be some more announcements on our social media and all that, but the journal's out. It's ready for purchase. I'll have a link down below. So whether you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, there will be a link down below to check out the journal. And I believe we still have a free sample on the website. So if you're like, what is this? What is this journal? Is it for me? You can get a free sample. You can have a quick little chitty chat with Mr. Trainer Ben here just to chat through
For
your life
free?
for free.
For
Yeah,
free? Just by
both
going
of
to the
these
website
things.
and subscribing for free?
Just by going to everydayguy.life and subscribing? What?
All of a sudden, we're all like sales now, right?
Well, and like again, we've always said this. It's like we don't do this for the sales. We don't do this for the money, but it is very exciting. It is years of hard work. It is like and these products help us to continue to do the work that we want and need to do, right?
For sure. And again, I mean, what we're talking about right now, regulating your emotions while retaining masculinity. I mean, so much of that journal is about my experience having to do that to come with these nuggets of information that can help everybody, young men, men in midlife, just and anybody in between, anybody really. But almost all of that is in some way linked to this episode, this topic, right? Of retaining masculinity while regulating your emotions, because my whole life is that, like from being a little kid. Like, I remember being a little kid. So here's a little story for you, a story you might not have heard. But one of the first things I really wanted to do was dance, because I loved it. I wanted to, because there was a show called Fame. And Fame, there was a guy, Leroy, he did ballet. And so I was like, I want to be a dancer. I want to be a dancer. And I was only young. I was like maybe grade one, grade two, something like that. I want to be a dancer. And I got my ass beat for that, right? So again, it's like I had a lot of things I had to deal with, from like little things like that. Like, I want to be a dancer. No, you don't. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I want to be a boxer now, right? So having to, again, like learn how to manage that dichotomy of like, oh, well, you're a boy, you can't do that, and regulate my emotions to the point where, as an adult, I could say, you know what, if I wanted to be I should have just done ballet. I should have just done dancing and things I kind of wanted to do as a kid. But now I know better. Now I can guide people better, and just like, it's not, it doesn't matter, do what you want to do. Right? So anyway,
Yeah.
just again, going back to the journal is like my whole life in many ways has been about regulating emotions while trying to find my way of being like a man or a boy, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, coming up, as a young boy, you are defining your image of masculinity and all the things that come at you from the media and from your parents or from your peers. Those are the things that help define your idea of masculinity. But at a certain point, you kind of are like, what does it mean to me?
Hmm.
Like what do I actually think? Because everybody else has their ideas that like I shouldn't be a dancer, I should be a boxer, I should do this, I should like I shouldn't cry, I shouldn't show emotion. But what does it actually mean to me? And that's okay. And I would say that like, as you get older, you're no longer in the position of like I'm young and impressionable and I want to be Spider-Man or I want to be a dancer or whatever. But there will be people that you love who are young, who are in those positions, whether they're nieces, nephews, your own children, family members that you love, who will come to you and be like, this is how I feel, but it's not masculine, or I don't know how to have these things or be these things. And now you're in a position to use all those experiences that you've had and all the work that you've done on yourself to be like, yeah, do it. I support you. I think you're doing a great thing. I had to go through all of this to learn this lesson, and now I can give it to you as a whole parcel, right? So like just on the topic of that, if you had to kind of outline some strategies, I guess, for like regulating your emotions at the same time as prioritizing your masculinity, like what would those, if you had to pick a couple, what would be some strategies you'd suggest?
I would just journal. I would journal because and start asking yourself questions that are related to that. Because to me, again, journaling is like so huge because it organizes your thoughts. But yeah, just ask yourself some questions. Who am I in this world? Like, how do I feel about things? How do I feel about this? How do I feel about that? Do I feel like I'm expressing myself as I want to? Do I feel like I'm being who I want to be in the world? What's holding me back? Why am I afraid to just be me? Like am I afraid to be me? Do I feel like I'm less worthy if I let down the mask or the guard? Like why would I be afraid? What is there to be afraid of? And ask yourself those questions, right? Like it's
Mm,
not going to happen in the day, but you continue to ask yourself those questions. Like why do I care what people think of me? What do I care if somebody thinks I'm not masculine enough if I'm doing what I want to do? I know who I am. I'm a man, so I am masculine. Just I'm a man,
yeah.
or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But I think journaling is a huge one. Just take time every day. I think everybody should be doing it for just generally, but especially when you have issues that you're trying to work through, just take time every day to just like get away from your TV, get away from social media, get away from all that kind of stuff, and just quietly think like, how do I feel about this? Who do I want to be in this situation? Am I there? Like, what's holding me back? How do I get there? Okay, so what do I need to do to start moving in towards being that person and being okay with it, so letting it settle into me being, just fully embracing it, right? These are the questions that you have to ask. I mean, there's no perfect situation. Like for me, if I could go back to that same story, knowing what I know now, I'd say it would be something like this. Like, why do I why do I care what my brother thinks? You know, or why do I care what the other people think? What do I really, why do I want to be a dancer? I want to be a dancer because I like it, because I'm inspired by it, because I think it's so cool watching what Leroy does on Fame. Like, like like what could I do with this? I could give me a sense of purpose and passion, give me something to do that I really love, and maybe one day I'll be on the stage and I'll do something great. And what's more important to me, living this life that I just love and with this passion, with this like enthusiasm for life, or worrying about the opinions of what a bunch of punks on the street? Like, these are the questions that you ask yourself. It's like, what do I care about the thoughts of the opinions of a bunch of punks on the street that don't know who I am? They don't know my heart. They don't know that I am a man. So what if I like ballet? Or what if I don't? What if I'm in a man's body but I don't feel like a man? So what? What do I care what they think? I am who I am. And why do I love myself? Why do I feel okay with that? Because I like me. I like me. I'm tough. I'm resilient. I'm emotional. I'm happy. I'm fun. I'm whatever. Right? Build that self assurance so that you can slowly but surely like navigate that, the opinions of others versus the opinion of yourself, and just make sure that the only one that really matters is highly yours is like
Yeah.
yours is like so far above that. It's like I'd like these people to kind of approve of my decisions, and I'd like for them to like me and whatever. But at the end of the day, nothing I can do about that. But what I can do is make sure that I'm doing what's true to me, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Sorry,
kind of
that
a
was
long-winded
it was a long. I know I had a bunch of like questions I wanted to ask, and by the time we got to the end, I was like, oh damn, what did I want to ask?
I
um,
know, me too. By the time I finished my answer, I was like, what am I actually talking
how did we get here? Where am I?
about? Oh my god.
You're being yourself. I appreciate it. And it is like one of the most admirable things that, you know, something that I find quite admirable about other people is the ability to be yourself despite, what other people might think of you or what they might say about you. And I do think that that's a very masculine trait to be like, yeah, I am what I am. I am who I am. I know myself. I like myself. What do you want me to do about it? Like if you don't like me, okay, that's your problem. That's not my problem. Like you can feel however you feel about me. I like me.
You
So
think that's a masculine trait?
I do. I think confidence is very masculine and liking yourself.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but
Why?
I think I think I think people fall into a paradigm where they're like ruthless, and that ruthlessness comes out, that masculine ruthlessness, like traditionally comes out as confidence when it's not necessarily. I'm not saying that it's not confidence, but it's not necessarily confidence. It
True.
comes out as, again, living in that dichotomy where it's like, I'm a man, I'm macho, I'm ruthless, I'll roll over anybody in my way, and if you don't like it, so that's not confidence. That's actually fear. That's fear of not living up to the expectations of society, right? And again, I'm not saying that that's for everybody, but
Hmm.
I just don't think that's necessarily a masculine trait. Confidence,
Yeah.
like what in the way that you're talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You could
I'm
also
happy to
agree
agree
to
to disagree. I
disagree.
mean, like, yeah, if it's coming from a place of fear, yeah, but it was more like I am only talking about confidence. I'm not necessarily talking about confidence derived of fear. I'm talking about the people who are at that point where they're like, yeah, I dressed up as a woman for Halloween every year, and I don't think that that changes who I am. I wanted to do it, and I'm happy with it. Like that's what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to be a dancer, and that's what I did. And that's what I wanted to do, and I'm happy with that. Like, yeah, the origin of it can change it, but I think like if it's not coming from that place, it is as masculine as it is feminine, right? And it doesn't really matter. Like it can be both, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Um,
Wrong. No,
your
yeah, I mean
opinion's
this.
wrong, actually.
Your opinion is absolutely 100% wrong. In fact, you couldn't be wronger.
I get
No,
that a
I
lot.
mean everything is a spectrum, right?
Yeah,
You know,
I'm confident enough in myself to say if you don't agree with me,
but I do agree with you. I just
yeah,
think that, yeah. Let's move on.
yeah. It's the difference between I am confident and if you say anything bad about me, you're wrong and I hate you and like get away from me, right? It's the difference between those responses, right?
Yeah, it's a difference between true confidence and the masquerade of confidence, because you're doing what society expects you to do, and you're rolling over people because there's those are two different kinds of confidence, right?
Mhm. So, kind of on that note, like, what is the effect, in your opinion, of men suppressing these emotions? Like, we've talked a lot about about the other side of like why you should regulate your emotions, why it's good, why it's masculine, why you should define your own masculinity. But how is it affecting men to suppress these emotions? Why is this even a conversation worth having? Why is it not just like a social media post? It's like love yourself. You know what I mean?
But yeah, I don't know. I guess there's just so much mixed messages and passed down kind of ideas what men should be, that it's like it's kind of put on the back burner, I guess. Like how many guys do you know that put regulating their emotions ahead of like working hard and making a lot of money and making it in the business world and making a name for themselves and winning a gazillion trophies and making sure they can afford the big bad truck and their, like how many people, how many guys do you know that put regulating their emotions above all that?
Not many.
That's why we're having this conversation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've kind of
Because,
we like we've talked about this a little bit, and I've told this story before, but I used to have some friends who lived in Fort McMurray, and it's oil there, right? I think it's like a bunch of oil in Fort McMurray. So all these young guys would move out to Fort McMurray, they'd work on the oil fields or whatever, make a ton of money, and then but they'd just be miserable because all they did was work. So they'd come home and they'd buy all this stuff. They'd buy like the new game system. They'd buy massive flat screen TVs, big houses, big trucks, whatever. But all they're focused on is money and they're making tons of money. And then they're buying things to make themselves happy while being completely miserable. And nothing that they buy will ever make them happy. So it's like, is the time that you're spending, and like, this isn't to be like, quit your job and just be happy, dog. Like, but is the time that you're spending hustling so hard and making all of this money, is it of value to you? Or can you put some of that time toward yourself? Like, if the TVs and the trucks and the gaming systems and all those things aren't actually making you happy, it's okay to say that it's not making you happy. And it's okay to recalibrate and say, I just need to take some time for myself. I need to figure out what will make me happy. And like, yeah, maybe I work a little less, or maybe I put some of that money toward counseling or say an interactive journal or whatever, right? But like, it's okay to do those things and it's good to do those things. And coming to the point of like being able to regulate your emotions, it it just makes you better. Like it makes you a better leader, a better father, a better husband, a better whatever, right? Like um it just makes you better all around, better for yourself. If nothing else, it makes you better for yourself. It makes it easier to get up every morning and look at yourself in the mirror and go, yeah, I'm happy, I'm calm, and if something happens today, I can deal with it and I can deal with it with grace and dignity and I can deal with it how I want to deal with it, not how I'm
mhm.
compelled to deal with it because I'm so out of whack, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be one or the other, right? But one way or another, you got to learn to regulate your emotions. And I will always use Arnold Schwarzenegger as a perfect example about this. And he's not the only one. There's a million of them, but he's a good example because I've been a fan of that Arnold Schwarzenegger since I was a kid, and he always, from day one, has said, and you could see it in all the things, like if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, I'm not doing it. So for him, he would always find the thing that made him happy and excited, and enthusiastic about enthusiastic about life or whatever he was doing. Like it was all about fun, having fun, and that's regulating your emotions. Like he talked about working out, and it's like the pump is like calming, it's like calming. But again, what is he doing? He's regulating his emotions. He's going, like for some people this is misery, like I just want to have the body so I don't feel so crappy about myself, and for him it's like regulate your emotions, like this is fun. Why? Because I'm going where I want to go. I have the future ahead of me. I'm excited. Like that's regulating your emotions, right? Finding the joy. Me on the construction site, remember how many times when we first started you'd be like, oh, what were you doing today? It was all rainy and snowy. I was like, oh man, I was having so much fun at work. It's like learning to regulate your emotions. I would be like, I'm having fun with my friend, and it was genuine. I'd be having fun with my friends. I'm getting to move. I'm getting to like build houses. Like, oh, it's like so fun, right? But it's again, it doesn't have to be one or the other. But regulating your emotions is like one of the most important things that you can do because it carries over into all different areas of your life, and it really again, it's not even about being feminine or masculine or anything like that. It's just being honest about the fact that you're living your life, you're gonna have all these experiences. Be honest about it. Like, how am I feeling? And if I'm not feeling good, how can I reframe the situation in a way that I do feel good about? And 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 how will my life be impacted by that? But to be able to do that, you have to be in touch with your emotions. You just have to be, right?
Yeah.
So because if you're not in touch with your emotions, you won't be able to go like, you won't be able to say, wow, I'm feeling like blue. Why am I feeling blue? I shouldn't be feeling blue. I should be feeling happy. Like, well, what's going on here? Well, I'm just kind of like, I'm really like letting what somebody said to me, like, 8 hours ago or 2 weeks ago or like 10 years ago, I'm letting it affect me. Why? Like, I know who I am. I'm a good person. That's regulating your emotions, right? It has nothing to do with masculinity or feminine. It has everything to do with just understanding how to live your life in a way that's empowering and joyful for yourself, right?
Mhm. I think
Can I
what would be
ramble again?
empowering and joyful for me is being able to do my Arnold impression whenever I want without restriction.
Does it
Um,
make you enthusiastic?
does make me enthusiastic. I will say, and sorry, this is all I could think about while you were talking. My Arnold impression is probably going to be the reason that my relationship eventually ends because I love it. I love doing my Arnold impression. It makes me laugh. I find it really fun and funny. He hates it. He absolutely hates it. But I think it's so funny.
I gotta be honest. You're not the best Arnold impression, but it makes me laugh. You
What?
do a lot of good impressions, but your
Okay, no,
Arnold
hang on,
impression's
hang on,
not
hang
that
on.
great.
Okay, really, really quick, because I know we're running out of time, but really quick, okay? We're gonna do an experiment. So I'm gonna turn off my camera for a second, right? Okay, you guys can't see me. I'm gonna walk out of the room. Okay, I'm walking out of the room. Bye. Arnold, do you want to go talk to them for a minute? Yeah, I'll go talk to them. Hello, it's me, Arnold. I want to talk about emotional regulation. So today I'm going to talk about vulnerability as strength. Oh, sorry, Will has to come in. Come back. Come talk to them. Bye. Nice to talk to you. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Arnold. Thank you. That was awesome.
to
Cameo from
that
Arnold Schwarzenegger. How good
to
was that?
that to that I would say Kirby the Frog, get out of here. I want to talk to Arnold. That's not like Kirby the Frog.
No, it was Arnold. He was a cameo.
if Arnold was Kirby the Frog.
Okay, well, you're just being a hater, and I'm emotionally sound enough to know that
Oh.
I don't need to listen to you.
Okay,
Um,
let's get back on topic.
yeah, I think to tie this up, oh my gosh, to tie this up, how would you say that like what is the everyday guy approach to emotional regulation? Let's just put a bow on it with like how is everyday guy working toward this?
Well, I think everything. Well, if you look at the Everyday Guy Journal, everything about that is just reframing situations, like looking through, seeing sun through clouds. You know, finding a sense of hope, finding, those things that create the self assurance, ease, and faith. All of those things, the whole thing is about regulating your emotion. In fact, all the work I do with everybody all the time is all about regulating their emotions. Even when I was training people, like before I came here, it's about regulating their emotions. Like in that case, I was training some people at the gym, but it's like wow, just by taking control and being focused, you could change your body. And how great is that? Like, well, look how great you're doing. You're doing so good. Like everything is regulating your emotions. Everything.
Yeah.
So the journal, the book, all my work is about helping people to do those things. The happiness line. What is the happiness line? Regulate emotions. Oh, I'm not feeling good. What, like I'm below that line. Like how do I get above the line? Well, I'm not feeling good because I'm worried about like running into so and so. But you know what? This could be different. I could run in this time when I run into so and so, I'm going to say, you know what? How are you doing? How are you doing? And no matter what they say, I'm gonna be sincere. I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I hope you feel better, or whatever it is. It's like now all of a sudden like you're empowered, so you're above the happiness line, like everything, the the highlight reel, that's all about regulating your emotions. The empowering mantra, 100% regulating your emotions. That's how I came up with it. Hands up, chin down, no pain. How did I come up with that? By regulating my emotions. Like, oh no, I'm a little bit nervous about like this sparring session, or I'm a little bit nervous about this fight. You know what? You've done the work. Just stick to the basics. And you know what? It's just a boxing match. It's not that big a deal. The hands up, chin down, no pain. Now I feel better. Everything is regulating emotions. Everything that we teach.
Yeah, absolutely true.
I
I
mean,
I yeah,
and I'm just gonna say, yes, it's I mean, it's really the key to a happy life because in every situation you're gonna have opportunities to feel crappy or great and or somewhere in between. And so regulating your emotions is all about that. And so when you talk about masculinity or whatever, it's like just get over what's masculine and what's feminine and where you should be on that line. What the line that you need to think about is your happiness line. What do I need to do to regulate my emotions so that whatever I'm dealing with, whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm doing is making me feel good about myself, and screw whether it's manly, screw whether it's feminine, screw what anybody thinks about it, as long as I feel good about it.
yeah,
That's the bottom line. And that's what we teach. That's what everything that we do is about. And that's what the Everyday Guy Journal is about. It's about giving you the prompts so that you're writing this stuff down, so you're thinking about it, so that you're focused about it. Like, how do I feel about that? What do I think about this? It's all about helping you to regulate your emotions so that you're in a place where 99% of the time it's like you just feel good about everything you do. I feel good about my work, I feel good about my family, I feel good about my body, I feel good about my routines, I feel good about everything.
yeah, yeah. I can't even follow that up with anything insightful. You're absolutely right. I mean, I hadn't even thought about it, but yeah, absolutely everything we do is about emotional regulation. So, I mean, again, you mentioned the journal. So the journal now available for purchase. There will be links. But we've also got our clothing line, wearable mantras that kind of embody
Regulate your emotions. Hands up, chin down, no pain. Regulate your
hands up, chin
emotions.
down, no pain. That's exactly it. So yeah, we've got our merch, we've got the journal. Again, if you want a sample of the journal just to see what you're getting into and a little 15-minute call with Mr. Trainer Ben Smith, you can get that at the website just by
Subscribe.
subscribing.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And yeah, I mean, as always, you guys can reach out to us for any reason at any time. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. Again, you cannot get rid of us. You can also email us at lovinggoliath@gmail.com if you have a topic you want us to cover, if you have a question, even if you just need to like reach out and ask for support, whatever it is you need, that email is your direct connection to us. Remember those like paper cups with the string attached
Yeah.
to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your paper cup. You can just talk into it and we'll respond from the treehouse. No problem.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So
Fail proof.
absolutely fail proof. Has always worked. No error at all. So
Oh my God.
thank you all so much for joining us again. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Um look forward to another one next week, but until then, thank you again and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Bye.